So here we are back on the mail truck. This is the driver's side. What I'm trying to do is get the dust cap off, and hopefully I can get the rotor off so I can get a good picture of all the components on the inside, so we can make sure that on the other side that we've already taken off, we can make sure that everything gets put back like it should. It's been a while. I thought I had some good pictures of the other side and I did not, so this is just kind of to document that. So I've already got this knocked loose. I had to spray some WD-40 on it, and so now I'm just kind of working around it with a flathead screwdriver now that I got it knocked loose, and there it is. So what we have to do now is we got to take this cotter pin, we got to straighten it out, pull it out, and then we can take this nut off, and then hopefully it's not completely rusted up on the inside, and that this drum will come off with somewhat ease. So I'm just going to do this with a pair of channel locks because I'm too lazy to go around and get a pair of needle nose and wrenches and all kinds of other things. Right, so that's straight. One pin, don't reuse the pins, get a new pin. All right, now for the spindle nut, I'm going to adjust the channel locks. Should hopefully spin off fairly easy. It's at least had a bunch of grease on it for the past 60 or 70 years. It's gonna be fun, nice and greasy. And I didn't bring any paper towels over here. Come on, spindle nut. It's a long spindle. Almost to the end. Alright. So one spindle nut, very important. Don't lose it. Being 70 years old, everything is difficult to come by now. That is not going to slide out of there. Inside there's also a washer. So there's washer, spindle nut, and then the cotter pin. That's what holds everything together. Alright, now we got to try to get the drum off. Hopefully we'll have some success at this. I may need to get something else. Alright, I'm going to pause this, get some paper towels, and then get a couple of pry bars so we can kind of wedge on either side in between this groove and try to walk this thing off of here. This tells me that with this thing, the front end sitting in the mud for the past 60 plus years, it's probably all rusted up and the brakes are pretty well deteriorated inside of it. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I have been beating on this thing for a good 5 minutes or so. Try to keep my fingers out of the camera. So I squirted WD-40 around the top. I squirted WD-40 around all the rusty bolts. And so what I've been doing is trying to pry the drum out of the back plate. So if you can see down in there, the drum, it sits into a groove of the back plate. And what I've been able to do so far is just kind of pry it loose a little bit, see how it wants to move a little bit. Consequently, also beating on it, what I've done is I've managed to free up all the linkage, so now this thing turns extremely easy, which I don't mind because we're just going to have to make it do that eventually anyways. But the problem is that every time I beat or pry on it, now the wheel turns on me. But what I've been working on for the past few minutes is taking a flat bar and just using a pair of channel locks and wedging it into the groove and just kind of twisting to try to get the drum off. And now it's not going to budge. Alright, so because I need 2 hands for this, we're going to pause this and pick it back up after we get the drum off. What I'm probably going to do is grab 2 hammers and just kind of wedge it on either side because I don't have a wide enough screwdriver, and then just do that, and hopefully with a little bit of prying action this thing will just pop right off, and then we'll get a good look at the inside of it. So we'll be right back. Alright, so it has been an hour and a half, and I've got it out about that much. It moves. The problem is that it's hanging at the top. So just a quick profile of the back. Here's what we got. We'll switch the camera. So on the back we have this large bolt at the top. This is for the anchor pin, and we have 2 smaller bolts. Those hold the wheel cylinder in. Also, to take the wheel cylinder out, we would have to remove this. We're not going to do this at the moment. There's also 2 smaller bolts at the top. So one on this side, one on this side. And then there's also 2 at the bottom, which is kind of hard to see. We've got one that's right here, and then a longer bolt on the underside. This wheel's finally turned just down here. On the upside, this thing moves a lot. So we've got that free. But because the springs of the brake are still in the anchor pin on the inside, and the shoes are rusted through the rotor, I'm gonna have to take the anchor pin out as well. The whole thing is just going to fall out on me. And after we do that, we'll have everything out except for the wheel cylinder, which is still in, so we'll be able to tell how all this is supposed to have gone back together. Just unfortunately it'll all be in the drum instead of on the back plate that we wanted, but that'll tell us how to put the other side back together. And then once we get the other side back together, then we can move on to cleaning this side up. Then we can get the rims cleaned up, tires put on, then this thing will be ready to roll around and go to the sandblaster. So we'll get this off and we'll finish up. Alright, we won. Hooray. Alright, so this is what the inside looks like. So the guy looks like a dust shield here. Here's another dust shield. I have not been able to find those, so we're just going to have to clean them up the best we can and reuse them. Same thing with this back piece. I wasn't exactly sure how it went back together, but this should give us a pretty good idea which direction it's supposed to go, because it's been a while since I took the other side off. Inside the brakes, so we're just going to have to soak this thing in oil for a while. The only thing that we're going to end up reusing out of this is just that. So once we can get that out of there, the rest of this will go in the trash. or a brand new hub, because those are still available. We will convert this to the old ball bearing style to the new roller bearing style, and we'll be in business. So now that we've got that loose, we'll just go ahead and slide this back on temporarily. Probably bag up the spindle nut and washer, label it, and just put the dust cover on temporarily to keep moisture off the spindle, to keep it rusting up until we get to this side. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.